Brandel Chamblee, Golf Channel, lead studio analyst, NBC Sports, providing comprehensive coverage of the Ryder Cup from Whistling Straits. You'll see it on NBC, Golf Channel, Peacock, and it starts Friday morning at 8 Eastern on Golf Channel. Brandel, Justin Leonard, Rich Lerner recap the action. In-depth analysis live from the Ryder Cup on Golf Channel. Brandel, great to talk to you. Set the scene. What's the weather going to be like at Whistling Straits?
Well, it's going to be windy, probably a little bit chilly. I think it's supposed to warm up a little bit tomorrow, but the weather that the players have been practicing in is going to switch. You know, the winds are going to come out of a different direction, but it's going to be brutal, hard golf course, hard against the Lake Michigan. And, it's going to look like an Open Championship. When
it comes to trying to assess both of these teams, we used to always look at the Europeans and say they got along with each other, like they were friends with each other. They would room with each other, and that camaraderie would play out in the Ryder Cup. Is that still the case with the European team and the United States team?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good assessment of things. I mean, it's hard. It's the hardest puzzle to put together why the Europeans continue to dominate, because almost every single year they're a pretty big underdog coming in here in every facet. But I think by and large, the difference is it's not like it doesn't mean anything to the U.S. It does. It means a lot to them. You hear them, you see them when they win, you see them when they lose. You can tell it means a lot to them. But as some Europeans have described it to me, it's life and death for the Europeans. It means that much to them. And yet they find this perfect harmony between the intensity and the levity that you need to play your best golf. Whereas the United States, they play tight and they just don't play their best golf. There's several reasons why I think they haven't been able to, by and large, beat Europe, but that's one small part of it.
Justin Leonard last night on the broadcast said that when you play on your home turf, it's like 1.5 or 2 points. That's the home course advantage there. And he talked about how you have to win. If Shane Lowry wins that first match tomorrow morning, then you've cut that lead in half. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, if you go back in the world ranking era, the home field, home course, home country advantage is a 1.5 point advantage. But, momentum comes and goes in this. It is very ephemeral. The U.S. hasn't lost an opening session since 2006, and yet they continue to struggle. By and large, I think that the captain needs to impress upon the players on the U.S. side that they need to play with the same intensity that they would if they were 10-6 down in singles, try to recapture that intensity that they had going into the singles going all the way back to 1999. I think they have gotten up, and I think they've relaxed a little bit because on paper they're meant to dominate, and they get a little bit of a lead, and Europe has been able to flip it more times than not.
What if we traded Bryson DeChambeau to the European team? I mean, he sounds French, so wouldn't that be a better, we're trying to create drama, tension, good TV. Could we trade DeChambeau to the European team, and who would we get in return?
That's a great question. Listen, I don't think we'd want to trade him. I think he's pretty darn fun.
No, we have to do this.
Oh, we have to trade him. Who can we get? Well, if we could trade Bryson DeChambeau for Victor Hovland,
ooh,
I think that'd be a heck of a trade. You'd trade the longest driver for maybe the straightest hitter here. Victor Hovland is a guy, I believe all 12 players on the European side were asked who they would like to pair with. All 11 of them all said Victor Hovland. So he's that popular. Bryson DeChambeau's he's an odd guy. I'm not sure many people would want to play with him. Who plays golf like him? You're going to end up in spots you've never been in. So I think that'd be a pretty good trade for the U.S.
Okay, but you bring up the great point. I guess Brooks and Bryson are playing nice. Is that good for the tour? Is that only good for this weekend?
Well, I've said this, you go back to the beginning of the Ryder Cup, every single European U.S. team would have had two players on that team, at least two players on that team that didn't like each other. This derision on the team between two players is nothing new. Social media is around, so we know more about it. A little friction on a team is a good thing, and any group dynamic setting, a little friction is good. It lights things up, get a little spark. I don't think that's going to be the problem here. And yeah, to whatever extent, I think they could come together for the week. They've bridged that gap. It's not like they're mortal enemies. It's not like one or the other stole the other's wife or girlfriend here. It's like one of them plays golf and makes it look as difficult as tax codes, and the other one makes it look as simple as snow falling off a log. They're just two different people.
Team golf versus individual golf. In how you pair, like that. We talk about chemistry a lot in sports, but trying to piece it all together, it's like jigsaw puzzles and the pieces you put together. How delicate is that?
Well, I think you can overthink it. Like, for example, Seve, Jose Maria Olazabal, the most successful team ever. I don't think you would have ever put those two together in foursomes. They're both, they drove it all over the map, both of them. Neither of them would be a good foursomes team. And you put them together and you think, well, they're going to be a horrendous foursomes team. And they were almost unbeatable. I think the one thing that Europe has done is they either pair like for like. In other words, long hitters with long hitters, or straight hitters with straight hitters, players that even struggle around the green with other players that even struggle around the green, or players from the same country or friends. They don't necessarily rely on metrics to say, well, this guy hits it straight and this guy putts great. And you put those two together and it's going to work out. That almost never works out. Like, for example, Fleetwood Molinari came about likely because those two guys were in the Bahamas having a couple of pops. They got a little liquored up. They called Bjorn and said, hey, we want to play together. Put us together. There's no metric there. You put them together. They're like, they went out there and they just boat raced everybody. And it's like, hey, why not put together guys and just laugh and have a good time together?
Brandel Chamblee, Golf Channel, the Ryder Cup. You can see it starting tomorrow morning, 8 Eastern on Golf Channel. Are there side bets during the Ryder Cup with, like, USA versus European players?
I doubt it. I mean, I'm sure going back the days of yore, maybe, but I doubt it.
Wait, with Phil Mickelson, he didn't have any side action?
Phil maybe is the exception. Phil might have some side action right now, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, I think they get a lot of literature, a lot of emails about let's not do that. That's not good for the game. So it would be certainly on the hush hush if they do.
Steve Stricker gave an update on Tiger Woods. What was your reaction to that update?
This is the first time hearing of it. When did that happen?
I thought he at the press conference just talked about Tiger's health and the road to recovery, and that he things are promising.
Well, I certainly didn't hear the specifics of that. Maybe I was sitting on the set getting ready to go and I had chaos in my ear. I was under the impression that Tiger was going to make some sort of impression before the week was out via Zoom, some sort of conference call. We've seen a little bit of Tiger Woods here and there, but I haven't really heard any sort of predictions about him coming back or even the state of his injury and how it's healed up. I mean, we've seen a little bit of him, but not much. Which, the fact that we haven't heard much, I don't know how to take that really. I'm
guessing his relationship with Stricker, that Tiger would probably zoom in tonight to talk to the team. That's just a guess.
Yeah, I could see that, and that'd be good. I mean, the game misses Tiger. He's stuck on 82 wins, tied with Sam Snead. Does Tiger Woods have another miraculous comeback? And he's already given us. You can add them up. It's 3 or 4, depending upon how you count 2008 U.S. Open. But he's remade himself. I've lost count. So maybe he's got one more inning. It'd be great for golf. And who knows? Maybe his presence will be just the spark that this team needs.
If I said you could have a putt to win the PGA Championship or a putt to win the Ryder Cup, 4-foot putt, you're standing over the putt. You win a major, you win the Ryder Cup.
Well, I think a U.S. player would say the PGA Championship. A European player would say, well, I think you'd be 50-50, but a number of European players would say the Ryder Cup. We had Colin Montgomery on our set once. I remember it pretty darn clear. It was the U.S. Open 2013, Marion. It was up on our set. It was Nobilo up there as well with me. And I asked Colin if you could trade all of your Ryder Cup experiences for one major championship, would you do it? And he was like, not a chance, not a chance, not a million years would I do that. The next day, as I was sitting on the set, and I'm not going to say who this person is, but a prominent person in professional golf came up on our set, veins were popping, pointing, saying the next time somebody says something that poppycock like that on that set, you got to call them out. It's like, what are you talking about? And they said the idea that somebody wouldn't trade their Ryder Cup, or would trade their Ryder Cup experience, or wouldn't trade their Ryder Cup experience for a major championship is preposterous. And I thought, well, that is the difference between Europeans and Americans. Europeans, it is life or death for them. I had a European say it to me yesterday. It's not that it doesn't matter to the U.S. It does. It's just life or death for the Europeans is how they've described it.
Yeah, but I understand that with Monty. Absolutely. From the European side of this, they enjoy this more. It means more to them than it does the United States. It just does. And I think because of that, yeah, the U.S. players would want to win a major, where this is we want a major. That's the feeling that you would get with the Ryder Cup.
Right. I mean, loads of players have won major championships. How many have done what Ian Poulter's done in the Ryder Cup? Ian Poulter, he's won, 3 times, I think, in the United States or on the PGA Tour. He's won a fair bit in Europe. He's underrated, I would say, in that regard. But when you look at what he's done in the Ryder Cup, he's a legend.
Yeah.
Sam Torrance never won a major championship. He's a legend. Colin Montgomery, he's a legend. No doubt Colin Montgomery got into the Hall of Fame because largely what he meant and did in the Ryder Cup, he could have not done any of that, won one major championship and not been in the Hall of Fame. So yes, it does mean, and Jack Nicklaus, I think, has summed this up pretty well. So has Tiger Woods. Look, by and large, the better players on the U.S. side are such colossally good players with unbelievable records that there is no career prestige to be gained from them winning a series of Ryder Cups or making the winning putt. It doesn't really matter in how they're viewed as players, whereas lesser careers, they look at a Ryder Cup as a chance to enhance their legacy and reputation. And it's worked beautifully for notably more Europeans.
Great to talk to you. Keep stirring it up. Have fun this weekend. We'll be watching. Thank you, Brandel.
Thanks, Dan. Always a pleasure.
That's Brandel Chamblee.